On December 8th, 2003, Stephen Bixby and his father Arthur shot and killed two South Carolina law enforcement officers in what prosecutors described as a premeditated ambush. Stephen was sentenced to death. But on March 14th, he won a rare stay of execution from the South Carolina Supreme Court after his lawyers said that his extreme anti-government views meant that he was in fact not competent to be executed. My name is Ted Clifford, and I cover South Carolina's death row for the state newspaper. The deadly conflict involving the Bixby family started over 20 feet of land. But to understand why that could spiral into a bloodbath, you have to understand sovereign citizens. The sovereign citizens are a loose movement that emerged in the United States towards the end of the 20th century. And while there are many different varieties, most share a core ideology that the courts and government of the United States are invalid. And as a result, they believe that they don't have to pay taxes or hold driver's licenses. And crucially, they believe that they have an absolute right to their private property. They are known to be extremely litigious, frequently filing lawsuits and liens, and they are sometimes violent, hoarding guns and getting into confrontations with law enforcement, which has led to the FBI declaring them a domestic terror threat. The Bixbys were originally from New Hampshire, which is a hotbed of sovereign citizen thought, and sources we spoke to said it was actually Stephen's mother, Rita, who pushed the ideas that would lead to the deadly confrontation. In New Hampshire, Rita was a serial civil litigant, and the family were once so threatening to a judge that the judge was given around-the-clock protection. When Stephen's parents bought a house and moved to Abbeville, South Carolina, they became embroiled in a conflict with the South Carolina Department of Transportation. The department wanted to widen a state highway by exercising an easement and taking 20 feet of the Bixby's land. When workers from the transportation department started placing stakes on their land, the conflict escalated, and Stephen Bixby shot and killed Abbeville County Sheriff's Deputy Danny Wilson and State Constable Donnie Oots. Now, this led to a 12-hour standoff with multiple law enforcement agencies. Now, in South Carolina, a defendant is considered not mentally competent to be executed if they cannot rationally engage with their lawyers. And more than 20 years later, Bixby still maintains that he was justified in both of these killings. He says that the officers were trespassing and claims that he performed a, quote, citizen's arrest on Wilson, handcuffing his body and reading him his rights. Bixby doesn't believe that he was fairly sentenced because he believes only treason can result in the death penalty. He also claims that he will be freed either by the legislature or another, quote, tribunal. He's expressed even more bizarre beliefs, like claiming that divine intervention saved him during the standoff, the blood of Jesus Christ was found on him. And while a psychologist who evaluated Bixby for his defense team said that he wasn't schizophrenic or suffering from psychosis, he did diagnose Bixby with narcissistic and paranoid personality disorders, and noted that his views about law were completely inflexible. We also spoke with Dr. George Parker at the University of Indiana, a psychologist who has studied sovereign citizens, and he made the important point that the difficulty in evaluating sovereign citizens is that while diagnosable delusions are personal, sovereign citizens have shared cultural beliefs, even if those beliefs may appear to be delusional. A lower court will have to hold a hearing before September 1st on whether Bixby is competent to be executed, but it asks an important question. As movements like sovereign citizens and general distrust in government and the rule of law are on the rise, where is the line between questioning authority and madness? For more coverage of South Carolina's death penalty, follow our coverage at thestate.com.